you said that if you had the bad intention, it definitely in the instant effect you will you will feel it.
Yeah,
You will feel it. So
exactly.
you're definitely right. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, it's not that complicated when you look at it. Okay. Let's say we take an individual. All right. An individual on average will have certain qualities. Okay. Certain qualities he or she can build over time. If you put enough effort and if you put enough discipline. You agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't know what
Definitely.
these
Yeah.
qualities are, but you can develop them. Now,
Yeah.
if you develop these qualities enough throughout time, that puts you in a good situation to be, let's say, employable for a job. Or if you've developed enough human qualities, let's say, that you communicate well, you really care about yourself first, and you care about others, like genuine caring, right? If you really develop these qualities, obviously you're going to meet good people because people respond to these things, right? So that's another
Definitely. Yeah.
component of being happy. So you have like a good group of people who actually enjoy being with you because you know you're a nice guy and you've developed your qualities enough so that you can materialistically get a good job, so you have enough money to survive, because that's like one of the most basic needs, to have enough money to function, you know, get food on the table. That's it's more important than spirituality. Actually, you need to feed
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you have those two things and over time you continue building your skills, you are very disciplined, you work really hard, and you don't spend time just focusing on the bad things happening around you. Because we have a certain number of hours in the day, and we decide how much time,
How will you
how we're going to
how will
use the
you use
time,
it?
right? Exactly.
Definitely. Yeah.
So if you really spend time on yourself, and while you're spending time on yourself, and that's a cool thing actually, when you spend time on yourself, it's not being selfish. When you're spending time on yourself, you're making yourself better. You know what happens? You actually affect the few people in your surroundings, let's say in your house, maybe your mother, your brother, a few friends who are close to you. So you have a positive influence on them. Now, when they get something positive out of you, they feel a bit more positive. So imagine these people going to their workplace or meeting other people, they are more positive. And that chain keeps expanding, let's say. So at the end of the day, that inner work you're doing on yourself is having an effect on people
Ripple.
around you, and
A
these
ripple effect.
ripple
Exactly.
effect, exactly. So
Yeah.
so that's why I always talk about being responsible and about actually working hard, because a lot of people think that I work too much, but I actually enjoy, you know, hitting those targets I have. And the targets are not like materialistic ones. Maybe I've told you before, my targets, for example, I have 5 main targets. One of them is family and friends. One of them is professional work. One of them is exercise. The other one is meditation. And the fifth one is research. So my whole day is about spending time on those 5 things. And these are the 5 most important things. Now, I have no time outside of those things to give importance to other things. So let's say someone criticizes me. I have no time for that. No, true.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would
Because
look at
sorry.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you going to say?
Yeah, Girish. What I can relate to what you're saying, because even at work, I say that I come here to do my work because there's interaction with some people in my team, yes, but outside my team and outside work, I don't interact that much. It's that what I said is that I come here to do my work, and once I'm back home, I have something else to do, because what I sense that with you people, I sense the people in my work, because given that I do some writing and painting and all the meditation and yoga, I have something to do on my own. So when I look people around me, I see that, yeah, if we take out the work life out of them, what's more they have about it. I know they will go back home, and what the
Mm,
productivity, according
mm,
to me, it's productivity. What you just said, it's productivity. I won't say productivity. It's more like what you like to do, because if you are on your own, you know what you can do. Because when you're going to work, we are going to work to do something. But
mhm,
when we get back home, uh, I'm doing what I want to do, what I'm not
mhm.
forced to do, but I'm doing because I'm going to work. If I wanted to do something like my passion, I don't know, painting or just writing and be a writer, it will be my passion. It's not. It will be no more a work for me.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm living my passion. So when
Mhm.
I go back, I'm going back home. So I'm living my passion. Maybe some reading, and I'm having some time with my parents, my grandma, and that's where I think I'm the more happiest person in the world, because I find my place. You see,
Mhm.
when I
Yeah,
go
yeah.
outside, to work, it's more like I'm. It's not the real Andrinson. It's like I'm putting in a
Mm.
cup, a
Yeah.
public servant cup. I'm going to work, and when I'm going back, it's more like I'm living. I'm putting the real cup of what Andrinson is really, because
Mm.
sometimes you can relate it, so Girish, because some we are actually living the world, but when we see people not doing something sorry, they
Mhm.
say that we are not being productive. So
Mhm.
I often say that doing nothing is also being productive, because you're taking time for yourself to do what you
Good.
like to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Doing nothing is something. I mean, otherwise, yeah. Like people think that meditation is a waste of time, but actually it's time well spent doing nothing if you think about it. Uh, and that's one of the main problems with people in general is we're always chasing something. Now, hitting targets is important, but you can't
Yeah.
always be chasing things. You can't always be running after things, and there is a time to slow down. But you can't just slow down and do nothing. I mean, you can't just meditate the whole day. So it's all about having that balance. Sometimes you need to chase things. Like if you're missing a bus, you need to run after it and get in. You can't say, I'm
Yeah.
going to stay zen and it's going to work. I know you run after the
Yeah.
bus. So there's a time to chase, there's a time to stop. And that's the middle way of trying to get the balance. And I would say that we are multiple things at the same time. Like you said, at work, you're someone else. When you go back home, you're someone else. And I think that's quite normal. And the reason why people get into trouble, I think, is because they try to, I don't know whether it's going to sound strange, but they try to be the same person everywhere. Ideally, you
Ah,
would,
ah. You read my mind.
ideally,
I would say that. I would say that because you think you can't be the same person everywhere.
you can't be.
People
Yeah.
tend to tell you to, yes, you need to be the same person. I often said it to my friends. If you think what I'm telling you, I'm not the, I might be harsh sometimes, talking roughly. I might doing sometimes, but
Mhm.
if you know me, if you know me well, I'm not the
Mhm.
person that you are viewing. I'm the real, the real me is that when you interact with me closely, and you will see that there's another part of me that is the real me, that something like the physical talk that we are having here, Girish. Some
Mhm.
people, when you talk to some people about it, they will say that, yeah, that guy, what he's talking about, he will try to get your attention 5 minutes,
Mhm.
and after 5 minutes he will say that, why must I bother about it? When
Mhm.
I do, I give some tips to people. I say that, yes, if you get up in the morning sometime, why don't you do some breathing? It can help you to expand your lungs and fight against the
Mhm.
COVID-19. Maybe we will get the COVID. I won't say that, but it can help.
Mhm.
But you will say
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
why must I do pranayam? Why must I do some breathing? We know how to breathe, but do you really know how to breathe well?
Mm. Yeah. 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 True.
Yeah, but like you said that we can't be the same person every day, and every day we keep to changing, because Girish, what I'm talking to you here, it's one Girish, but next day maybe the Girish is more enlightened. we will have a different talk. If we talk the same topic and we
Yeah.
talk it tomorrow, maybe
Mhm.
I will tell you something else, and you will take me to another perspective of it. So I think
Mhm.
that every day we are changing. Maybe
Mhm.
if whether we accept it or not, we are changing for the bad or the good. It's up to us to decide whether we want to change for the good for for ourselves and the close one around us, or
Mhm.
for the bad.
Yeah, I'll just say that we can't be the
Yeah,
same person everywhere. We
yeah,
have to sort of show different aspects of
facts.
ourselves in different situations.
Yeah,
There was one comment a person made last time to me. The person said that, you're just the same person I watched on Facebook. So that was a compliment, in fact. But
yeah,
I do think that when I am at work, for example, I'm a different person. I won't say I'm a different person. I'm still the same person, but I use different skills, let's say. I'll give you a very good
yeah.
example.
Okay.
Let's say I'm at home, right, with my son. The approach is different, right? So you're possibly more
Yeah,
calm, you're more
yeah, yeah,
fatherly because you're talking to a child. And
yeah.
let's say you're talking to friends who are from the male gender, let's say. You talk a different way, right? When you're
Yeah,
talking to friends from the female gender, maybe, depending on how they interact with you, you're possibly talking a different way. It's just because you're very aware that the people are different. So there are some things you can say and some things you can't. When I'm at work now, I'm no longer the same person. I am, but I show different skills now for the kind of job I do because of the things I have to process and solve. I need to be
yeah.
someone who actually understand the emotions of people, okay,
Mm.
to work at an optimum level. But at the same time, I can't allow myself to be emotional when making decisions. You see? So I've
Yeah,
over time I actually developed a very stoic aspect of myself where some people think that actually someday a person told me, I don't want to be like you. I don't want to actually, I know you meditate a lot. I don't want to meditate and actually reach a level where you can't feel anything because that's the major project where I actually don't feel anything. I mean, sometimes I'm resolving conflict and it's just very mechanical, Okay, that's the thing, that's how we sort it out, and that's it. Now, I think that's a skill to have in a workplace because you're trying to solve problems, right?
yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah,
if
you're here to solve
you do
problem. Yes.
become emotional, man, you won't
That
solve
you
problems. You
might
have
be
to make things
biased. You
worse.
will bias. Yes,
Exactly,
yeah, I know, but
exactly.
you will be biased. You can't be biased. You're there's a problem. You have to be objective and try to see the both side of the things and get the right solution to it. Right for the
Yeah.
both parties. If you're the right parties for the both parties, will have to be a compromise and the right solution for both parties. So as you're perfectly right, because not if you're getting to in a conflict and to try with a mediator, you're the mediator in a conflict, you have to
Mhm.
be objective and you have to put a cap that you're neutral, and it
Yeah.
won't affect you in your judgment, in your way you're
Mhm.
proposing something. You can't be biased. You can't propose that yes, that guy was right and this one was wrong. No, you have to make the balance, like you said, and find the proper solution, and then you have to keep I think say a part of it that won't get hurt or
Mhm.
get emotional. So you're perfectly right to say that you must have this, and you must don't have any feeling to show the people, but to be neutral. Yes, you're perfectly right what you have said, because if you tend to have some feeling and attachment, like when we have attachment with people, we tend to be biased. We are
Yeah.
based on our emotions, and sometimes we might do the bad things.
Definitely.
We might take the bad decisions that will affect not only you, one of the parties, but all. I don't know. It's a ripple effect. Many people with that person can be affected about it when you're
True.
counseling someone and giving an advice. Sometimes not advice, not giving advice. It's good, yes, but it depends on the recipient giving an
Yeah,
advice.
definitely.
Someone the end factor is that the end process is that the people at the other end, the receiver, might take your advice in the wrong way. So what you said is perfectly right. You have to give something, but to be neutral.
Yeah, there is that concept that reality is just subjective. There's nothing objective about reality. There is that concept in philosophy, like I'm looking at things in a certain way, you're looking at things in a different way. Is my way of looking at things good? Is your way of looking at things good? What's real? You have that eternal dilemma, let's say.
Dilemma, yeah.
Yeah, but what I would say is that there are some ways of looking at reality which are healthy, which are beneficial to you, which are beneficial to others. And there are some ways of looking at reality, doesn't mean it's right or wrong, but which is actually detrimental to you and others, because they will end up in suffering. An easy example would be the way I look at reality is that it consists of both good and bad people. I don't deny that bad things happen and exist. I never done that. And the more I see things with a naked eye, let's say without my belief, it proves my point that people are able to do the worst things ever. And people actually close to you, they can do the worst things ever. And you can see it in families, for example, brothers hating brothers, especially when you have heritage thing which comes into play, money and all that. I've seen sisters hating sisters, like in very bad way.
There's the dark side, like you said, that the demons deep inside of them tend to surface, and you see the people, the rage that the face that they mask, or you can see the cap that they're wearing is you won't. It's very harmful. It can hurt you, all the people around it, and this hurt tends to separate brothers, sisters, and all the close ones, and maybe you won't get that bonding again, like you said.
Definitely.
Disrupt everything.
Yeah, definitely. And what's one thing I've observed? These let's say siblings who hate each other so much, and I'm not using a strong word, hate. The way I've observed things is really hate. Okay. When you look at the same people outside their houses, okay, they're actually joking and talking to each other like, everything is normal. And I've observed that a lot among brothers, among sisters, and people in general. So they're able to function outside their houses in very normal ways. But what's really happening inside of them and inside their homes is very dark, very, very bad. Okay. And there was actually a study done. Okay. I'm going to talk a bit about it. There was a study done where there was a clinical psychologist. What he did is he observed couples, okay, married couples, and we just observed the behavior. So they came to that experimental center, which was like a sort of hotel where you could eat and have some fun together. So these couples came to that place and they were eating and talking, and they were being recorded. Okay, it was an experiment, and what was observed is that the psychologist, I forgot the name actually, the psychologist created a model which predicted which couple will divorce in the next few years. Okay, and he was accurate at 0.85. So the probability that he predicts someone will divorce was 0.85. So you can round that to 0.9, which is very high in probability. Okay, and the couples he predicted will divorce based on characteristics, based on what he observed. You're going to be surprised by that. They were the couples, so the couples which end up divorcing, let's say, they were the couples who actually smiling to each other a lot when they were observed. Okay. They were the couples which didn't get into conflicts a lot. They didn't fight each other a lot. They were smiling to each other a lot. So these were the traits. Now, what was really happening was that these people don't get into conflict, and deep inside they are possibly suffering, or there's a sort of evilness in them. which they've repressed, which they don't let come out because they don't get into conflicts, you see. And, and the amazing thing is that, I don't know if amazing is a good word, they were smiling to each other, meaning you can actually, if you just take that concept, you can actually smile to someone, okay, in real life, and actually deep inside, you mean the worst thing to that person. And that's a great lesson. So if you do observe people smiling, it doesn't mean that actually good people. Okay, you need to be very aware of that. And the way I look at things is I always observe the actions of people. I don't observe what they say or how they behave. To me, it's always actions. And the day someone does something really harmful with a wrong intent and you observe that, you shouldn't let that go away. You need to be really careful with that person. And I'm just going to give you a second experiment, okay? There was a clinical psychologist, he's called Jordan Peterson. So he went to a prison, okay? He went to a prison. And when he went there, there were a group of prisoners, okay? It was their break time, okay? So there was supposed to be policemen who was going to be with him as security, okay? But something happened, that policeman went away, that guard went away. So a group of prisoners kind of circled him. And they were like, you know, tough dudes with tattoos, like really strong guys. So he felt very intimidated. Now, someone else came from the crowd, like a short guy who doesn't look like offensive, okay, and just told him,
he was a prisoner. The small guy was a prisoner.
Another
also?
prisoner, yeah.
Okay.
Came and said that, you know, the chief is waiting for you over there. Now, the psychologist said, okay, this guy looks less threatening, right? Compared to all the dudes there. So he just went with him. And then someone came running towards them and grabbed him by his hand and said, okay, let's go and talk in my office. So it was the one in charge of the prison. And then when he was brought to that office, the chief officer told him that, you know, that guy who was taking you away from that crowd, he actually killed 2 policemen.